Good morning.
Good morning, Leslie. Good morning, Charito, Philip. Nice to have you all here. We start in few minutes time. Hello, Charito. And I will
Hello,
switch my
Michael.
camera off. Hello, Philip. And we will start. So let's kick it off. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. The next Wasteless World Talks, I'm sorry, the next Power of Touch is here with one term, with the language on which we will write to the future. And it is interesting that I make the mistake because the term today it's fail. And I will start as we start usually. I will start to asking the first question, which is the same for everyone. Charito, if you close your eyes and you hear the term fail, what came first to your mind, please?
Good evening, Michael, Leslie, Philip. I think there are others. No more. When I close my eyes, can you hear me, Michael?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. When I close my eyes, I can see fail or failure as an unsuccessful try, or you don't achieve a goal. It's like failing a grade. There's a standard grade and you don't have it, you don't reach it, so you don't go higher. Fail is not uh, hitting it, you know. Or sometimes you also neglect to do something, you fail to do something. So that's it. Well, probably also it's something that you try to do, but because of circumstances, maybe probably beyond your control or within your control, but then you have not prepared well, then you are not able to reach that goal, and then that's why you fail. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Charito. Leslie, the same question for you. If you close your eyes, what came first to your mind when you hear the term fail?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Michael. Um, the first thing that came to mind was obviously I saw the word before. Is that it's taken me years to teach myself that the label fail is false. That failure is how we learn. Yet society, certainly in the United States, I don't know about other countries, but ever since we began going to school, as Charito pointed out, an F is a failure. And the reality is that failure is how we learn. So we believe and have perfect faith that failure is bad, and it is not a good thing. It has a very low vibration. It doesn't feel good. And we are built to feel good. So you can see where this particular label that has evolved out of a need to set a grading system, there is no blame. But the way that that word affects our children's self-esteem, self-image, the more times we fail as a child, the less self-esteem we have. So my work over the last 25 years has been creating new meaning and belief in the words that do not really represent our potential. Thank you, Michael.
It's a very interesting explanation. Thanks a lot, Leslie. Philip, the same term for you. So if you close your eyes and you hear fail, what came first to your mind, please?
Hello, everybody. And the term failure is for me like it's kind of negative. But as an educator, it's really important that we make mistakes, that we fail, because without failure, we won't be able to learn new things. Most people learn from failure. I mean, there are few exceptions for politicians, they won't learn it. But in general, you have to make failure to learn a new thing and just try harder, do it again. and learn your lesson. So I think it's important that we fail in our life, because otherwise we won't make any success. That's about my opinion about this term. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ussi, your turn. So if you close your eyes, what came to your mind if you hear the term fail?
Greeting of peace to all. It is deep honor to be here and to reflect with you on one simple but powerful question. When you hear the word fail for the first time, what does it mean in your mind? For me, the first time I heard the word fail, I thought of something painful. Something that say you are not enough. After I graduated with an advanced diploma in professional computing and information processing, I started applying for jobs, especially government positions in Zanzibar. I had everything they asked for: academic qualifications, a Zanzibar birth certificate, Tanzanian citizenship, and technical skills in IT. I believe I was ready. I believe I belonged. But I failed. I sent application. I followed all the procedures, yet I received no feedback, no response, no explanation. So I took the step to visit the office myself. I asked the director why, and was told, your advanced diploma is from ICM. It is not officially recognized. This shocked me. ICM, Institute of Commercial Management, was registered. It had a physical presence in Zanzibar through ZCBA, Zanzibar Commercial Business Management. It paid taxes. It was legal, but I was told, we do not recognize your institution. That moment was the first time I felt fail, not just as a word, but as rejection, as injustice, as a silence. I also tried to apply for international jobs, but most require at least 1 year of experience. But I did not meet that requirement. I failed again. Still, I refused to give up. I found another path: volunteering. Through the United Nations Online Volunteer Program, I was selected to serve with Tanzania Development Trust. I worked there for a full year. I contributed to digital mapping that helped protect girls from female genital mutilation. I began as a beginner, grew to intermediate, and finally began any advanced mapper. I received a certificate of appreciation. And more than that, I found purpose. It was thought this experience that redefined fail in my heart. Fail no longer means the end. Fail means first attempt in learning. Each failure become a lesson. Each closed door become a new beginning. Each silence become a voice pushing me forward. And most of all, I discovered something more powerful than success. I discovered peace. Peace is not the absence of failure. Peace is a strings that start up after you fall. Peace is courage to try again with kindness, dignity, and faith. In the world of Industry 5.0, we are called to create a system where human beings are not wasted, where failure is not used to throw people away, but to lift them higher, where the human touch matters more than numbers, where peace is not just for nations, but for individuals in their daily struggle. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Ussi. It's a really fascinating journey of your life. And you know, I felt many times, but I do not remember when it feels bad. In fact, it feels, I just take it as a standard part of the life itself. But I would like to ask you all the next question, and I will start with Charito. Charito, do you remember a moment when all around you speak about fail of yours, but you feel the pride of making the next step? So you don't feel bad about them, but you feel proud. Do you remember such a moment in your life?
I don't think there was that moment, Michael, with failure in my part. It would, maybe I have many failures in the past, but not enough for people to be talking about it. When it talks about, I'm not being, you know, high strung, or I'm not being proud. But in looking back, I don't think there was a moment when everybody has to talk about me having failed, because I grew up trying to be the best if I could be. But at those times, although I may have failed, but it did not quite make an issue out of it. People talking about it. As of this, yeah, I don't think I remember any incident or any time where I failed. Thanks God. I failed a lot of times, but not necessarily those which are like you're a star and being talked about for having failed. No, I don't have, and thanks God for that. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Charito. And I will slightly change the question, and maybe you can, in the next round, answer this. Leslie, in your own life, we all face fails, or we feel it was a fail until we recognize it was not, it was the advantage, and you spoke about it. Do you think that this 20 years journey, which you just described, is such a fail with a success at the end? Or was it a different feeling? Are we able to recognize it when such a moment come?
Okay, I'm trying to process your question.
Please.
So it be the thing that ignites the 20 years or the desire to make changes occurred at a moment of awareness, and then you have to practice thinking something differently. Ask me the question again. See if you can ask it to me in one sentence, because I'm having it's okay. I know that this is not your first language, but I invite you to ask me again. We have a little time. Okay.
I will try. Was there a moment when something which feels like fail become the very opposite?
Yes. And look, this is the law of polarity, and I teach the 7 universal laws or hermetic principles. So the moment that you become aware to the fact that for every failure, there is its exact opposite as an available based on what we're thinking. So the minute you embrace that these universal laws work all the time, every time, and for every down there is an up. Okay, in every case. But we understand that intellectually, but yet one must not only understand it intellectually, and that in itself takes something, because we begin with confusion, but out of confusion comes clarity. So once you're clear, okay, it's true when I look back in my life that failing that thing was actually the best thing, because that brings in the law of sacrifice, which is giving up something of lesser value to make room for something of greater value. We underestimate God in the universe because there is a reason why we did not achieve at that time. And it's not up to us. It has to do with, have we learned the lessons so that when we achieve this thing, that we will actually enjoy it? Because the universe is all about love and God is about love. So he will hold you back if you're not. It's a perfect example is winning the lottery, right? I mean, you can hope and pray to win a lottery of a million or $2 million, right? And that just comes from the fear of poverty. That isn't very elevated thinking yet for those people who invest money in the lottery, in my view. Now, when you win, if you are not prepared to manage that kind of money, life goes downhill fast. People have killed themselves, excuse me, people come out of the woodwork, etc. So, that being said, the journey is about repeating this thinking. Every time failure comes up, you say to yourself, what is the opposite? And when you're moving toward something that you want, you will attract people and opportunities. Whether you understand now why or how it works, you know it works because you've had the experience when someone shows up and it gives you the exact answer to something you're thinking. Oh my God, that's what I was just thinking about. That is, there are no coincidences. We just don't know yet precisely how it worked, but we've seen it work dozens and dozens of times. Until we can go from the intellectual repeating of understanding that this is one of the universal laws and the lesson is there, you just have to look up. If you sit in the failure, the people that you've already attracted walk right by. You never meet them, and you're at a very low vibration, which puts you into dis-ease. Dis-ease is when you feel lousy for a long period of time. So our mind, once you recognize that every failure has a direct opposite opportunity, you get to choose. Do I look at it as a failure? Or do I look up for the people and opportunities with the faith in God or the universe, however you want to, or Allah, Buddha, Krishna, it doesn't matter. It's those are labels for one universal energy, if you'll agree with me, of love that is omnipresent and wants us to succeed. And it lives within our conscious mind. It is our guide. God, the universe is our guide. And I see and have for years see him inside of me when I go to make a stupid move and I hear the universe whisper, don't do that, Leslie. And I do it anyway. That is my fear or my faith in the fear that makes me do that rather than my ability to listen to what is the response and the right thing. So to go back to that point, it's about learning something new. For every failure, the choice is also for the exact opposite in learning. Where do we spend our time? Lamenting failure when people are already on their way to us with the exact answers and contributions that we want. We have to look up. I've talked long enough. Thank you for allowing me to express this morning, my friends.
Thank you very much, Leslie. It was very helpful. Philip, do you think that we have to recognize ourselves first to fail to learn from that?
Question. Yeah, I mean, first you have to recognize that you made a mistake. That's important thing that you know that you did something wrong and that you get another chance to reset the result. And yeah, I mean, to fail is not per se a bad thing because like you get a second chance to recalibrate it, to redo it. And yeah, I mean, in my life, I did a few mistakes, and sometimes I think, what would have happened if I wouldn't have made this failure? But on the other side, it's my life, and that's me. So I had to do, I think, some failures to learn some other things, to learn to meet some other people, to learn new things, to have my life like I have it right now. And I think all my failure also makes me up. And they gave me a chance to do things different, to learn other things, to meet other people, to make my life an experiment, an experience. And I mean, I think it would be pretty boring if you would make everything correct, if you wouldn't fail anywhere. So yeah, I think failure, that's an important thing to learn. The most important thing, because otherwise you have no challenge to learn a new thing. And so I think that's really important. Yes, thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Philipp. Ussi, do you think that fail is part of humanity?
Yes, yes. Fail is part of humanity. For me, fail, it means first attempt in learning. Every reject taught me to stronger. Every silence reminded me to keep trying. Every delay pushed me to create new path. And throughout all of it, I discovered something powerful, peace. Peace as a response to failure. Peace does not mean nothing goes wrong. It means having the strength to rise again when things fell apart. It means choosing to continue with patience, kindness, and belief in yourself. In today's fast world of automation and numbers, Industry 5.0 reminds us to put human first, to value empathy, inclusion, and dignity. We must build a system that does not throw people away when they fail, but help them grow. In those systems, human touch, real or symbolic, can heal more than data ever could. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ussi. And I'm so happy we have Michael here. It's a long time since the last time, and I know why Michael was not here. But Michael, do you remember a fail in your life which turned into the very opposite?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael, for this opportunity. And yes, I have failed in, I am clocking 47 years, and in my 47 years, I have gone through a number of failures to reach where I am right now. But that fail is always a learning process. And the faster you know of your failure and you get up and sort it out, the quicker you get to grips of what is making you to fail. Very many people have failed in whatever they've gone through. I'll give an example of Donald Trump. He failed at one time, and it's not always a smooth road. We go through trials and tribulations, but all that teaches us something. And finally, once you've got the grips of it, then you can know how to maneuver with the success. Thank you very much, Michael, for this opportunity to talk.
Thank you for being with us. I know you are a very busy man after you moved, and I'm really pleased that you are here again. You know, I was told that, for example, you know about myself that I just filed for divorce after 26 years of marriage, from which half of the time was really broken. And when I speak with people about it, they said, but you did not fail. Don't feel bad. You just developed. You just developed into something which maybe for you, your first ex-wife, and for your daughter, maybe it will be the next step into the future. And my question to Charito, do you think, and Philipp mentioned in one of his answers, he mentioned this. Do you think that without fails, we will be the same people as we are today?
You know what, Michael, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You know, I'll go back to the word fail. Actually, when I look at it, these are two words, failure and success, are so original that it started since time immemorial. Even at the start of life or the world, there were failures and there were successes. And it's just like life and death. When you die, when you live, you die, then you live again with other forms. So when this becomes a human nature, failure, success, not because it's attached to us, but because it is something that is inherent in the world. Because I would say that failure, as a human being, when you become, we're talking about you now, Michael, your divorce. You said your question is this: if we don't have failures, are we the same now as before? No, I don't think so. Because the word fail or failure, these are only words. But what is happening is the real thing. It's the facts of life. Not everybody gets to love each other from start to finish, from birth to death, right? So there is always a disagreement. There's always a discrepancy. There is always a standard in everything. There is always that desire. And because we are human, I would say human, we are bound to fail. We are bound not to reach that. Only God is perfect. We are not perfect. So whatever the word fail, if you mean the word fail, or we erase that word, we call it by any other name. Still the same situation with something that you wanted to reach, you wanted to be, which is success or positive thing. Although I would not say that failure is a negative thing all the time. There are failures who are also positive in its sense because it gives us a positive result. So I would say that, literally speaking, with or without failure. No, I'm lost. I got lost. Okay. Can you give me the last question that you said, Michael? I
Yes.
just want to reconcile my thoughts with that.
Okay.
You said
yes, try to get it because I forget it already. And that's not fail. That's not fail.
Come again?
I just said that to forget it, it's not a fail. It's just a development, I will say.
Okay. I'm sorry, I got distorted because, somebody from... Anyway, so my train of thought got lost. But this is what I'm going to say. we are human beings, and from the start of the world, from the start of our existence, two things would come, just like life and death, and that is failure and success. So whatever, at what point in life that we do, whatever we call that word, that act, that something that gives you dissatisfaction, negativity, or you did not reach something that you wanted, whatever we call it, fail or whatever word, and the opposite of it, which I say a success, whatever we call it, will always be here. And we are not going to be better because of past and failure. We are going to be better because of our mindsets. And mindsets, when you fail and you change it, you turn around, you focus on something positive, then you according to Philip, he said we learn from it. For me, that's right. And Leslie also has a very deep explanation of that. In fact, I lost my direction with her. I need to sit down and think about it. But you see, if you're going to ask me without, if these things would happen still right now, or are we still the same with or without failure? No, it's an individual thing that happens to you, but failure and success will always come to you, just like life and death. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Charito. It was a great answer. You lost its great. The language is unbelievable universe. Leslie, I have a very special question for you because you work with words and language for a long, long time. Do you think that success is the real opposite of fail, or there is another term, or they are another terms to use?
Well, it's going back to labeling and the way that word makes us feel. So it's what I think success is. I could pick another word, right? So, yeah, these questions are. I'm kind of with Charito. I was following along with her, and now you're asking me this question. Um, I think that it's always that way. Okay, the universal laws are things that occur all the time on our behalf. So, what we've all been talking about, every single person has brought up the law of polarity. Now, so we are familiar with the opposites, but we have not assimilated the power in thinking those opposites. So Charito said it nicely when she said, when something fails, change the meaning or pick another word. Exactly. Pick another word that appeals to you. So instead of thinking, oh, this is a bad thing, for example, Michael, I can tell you that your divorce or your separation or the process you're going through, you filed for divorce, is going to bring something with a matching high. So as you go through those moments, days or hours and days of feeling low and glum, you you hold yourself in a lower vibration. And it's like, for me, when this happened to me, I was married 30 years. It felt like, and I'm glad you brought this up, I saw myself wearing a hat that had a black veil, kind of like in the movies when, people would show up at the graveside. The women would have these broad rimmed hats, black with a veil that came down about, neck height, hiding the face. And that experience for me that you will experience at certain points, it is when the veil parts just enough to let a little light in, that you are in a place of openness to what's already on your way. Because for every low, there must be a high. What is that high? What is success? If you look at this as failure, what is success coming out of this? It's not overnight. I mean, I was married 30 years and it took me 15 to finally, I mean, through a series of working on myself, to finally be okay with everything, to become friends again, to, realize the reason that we were together, to come full circle from, a devastating dissolution. I mean, maybe yours was nice. I was a maniac because I didn't want the marriage to end. I, behaved very poorly and there was a lot of contention. So it took me a very long time to get out of it. All I can tell you is look for the light, the break. Michael, when you feel that way, the break in the veil that allows in just a little light, if you can visualize that, that is what's going to move you forward to something that is its exact opposite. So every low will have a matching high, but you've got to be aware of it. So that's the struggle. And the less time you spend under the veil, the better. So when you're feeling low, think about your child. Think about, what is the universe sending me? What have you earned? Let me just say this, that we all have the same purpose, which is to serve, but they change every 10 years or every decade or so. In this case, I don't know, I think how long you were married, but now you're into another purpose. In fact, you've started it with 5.0. Now you move your creative energy into the positive zone, into 5.0. And that's a higher level of awareness, a new purpose. So for the next 10 years or so, you're going to be deeply focused on that. Don't worry about having another woman. Okay. Don't go to the place where you believe that you will be whole and complete if you just replace her. It doesn't work that way. I promise you. Your healing will come from a deep focus into what you love, that is your child and your work. And you owe it, and the universe will pay you back. You've already developed some great karma. You really have. All right, I'm going to stop talking. I'm sorry. I'm preaching. I'm preaching.
Thank you very much, Leslie. I just have to stop because we have less than 1 minute time. And it was, again, such a great, great discussion. Meeting the members of our global family who are building Wasteless World for All. So thank you very much. And I wish you have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, be free, and be human as you are. Let's make our fails, don't shame for them, but make them into the success, same as we do on the Wasteless World. Thank you all and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
My internet got cut. Goodness.
Don't worry. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.